now, for our next session, we'll be hearing from a company that doesn't really need an introduction, to be fair. I mean, everyone has travelled with this company, from your mum, your grandparents, your cousins, your friends, your work colleagues. So we'll be hearing from these speakers are going to share some lovely insights on work life in harmony, achieving balance in a rapidly changing work landscape. So please give a hearty warm welcome with me as I introduce Maurice O'Connor, Gladys Barini, and Alex Obiko. Did I pronounce your last name? How did I pronounce it? What's your last name? Obiako, forgive me. Guys, give a hearty warm welcome to these speakers, please. So if you guys could just begin with telling us a bit about yourselves, your role at British Airways, and even your journey as well.
Is this live straight away? Amazing. So good evening or good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to see you all here. My name is Maurice O'Connor, and I've worked for British Airways for about 20 years. So I've had the most amazing experience and journey at British Airways, and I originally started out as kind of cabin crew, so my role was very much focused on taking care of others and taking care of kind of our customers, whereas now, I was going to say towards the end of my career, but hopefully it's not. But now my role is really about flipping that care internally at our organisation and making sure that we as an organisation are encouraging our colleagues to take care of themselves. Because kind of, who's actually flown on a plane? Amazing. And how many of you have watched the safety video? I'm going to give you a test. So in the safety video, when we show you the oxygen mask and the oxygen mask drop, what do we advise you to do? Exactly. Put your own oxygen mask on first. And that's a real kind of metaphor. So when we talk about kind of well-being, it's around prioritizing your own care, taking care of yourself, because if you're not in a great place and you're not in the right place, how can you perform and how can you be at your best for us as an organization? So that's kind of what my well-being role. I'll hand over because I realised I spoke for about 5 minutes. So the whole I warned them earlier on. I do talk a lot, but it's lovely to meet you, and I hope this is a real two-way conversation. So please, we've got loads of time at the end for kind of your questions, your ideas, and over to you, Gladys.
Hello, my name is Gladys. I joined BA almost 6 years ago, and I'm part of the legal department, working in regulatory law, mostly on passenger claims, because that's mainly our main source of revenue. But one of the key areas that we focused on in our department is we are very big on well-being, as Maurice was saying, especially after COVID. So one of the roles as such that our general counsel was very emphatic on was having a well-being champion for the department, which is one of my roles, which is mainly, as Maurice said, where we try and take care of ourselves as much as we take care of the work that we are being given. So we are not expecting you to just bring half of yourself to work and leave your issues at home. We expect you to bring your whole self at work, whatever the challenges are, whatever the good and bad. Come in with yourself, and we will try and support you as much as we can. And that's where the well-being champion and the well-being team with Maurice comes in. And I think as time has evolved, one of the other areas that we've come into, or both I and Maurice, is we now have mental health first aid as part of our well-being package, as it were, and I'm also one of the mental health first aiders. And the reason why this has become really important is because as we've been evolving in the well-being journey in BA, you realize you can't just take care of people's physical health, because their mental health determines how successful and how well their output is going to be. So that's why it's become a very major area of concern for us as an organization and also as a department.
Hello. I don't know how loud I am. I'm Alex. I work in commercial strategy at BA. I joined nearly 2 years ago, so I'm the baby of the group. My career, I guess I started out in consulting on a graduate scheme at Deloitte. I worked in loads of industries on lots of projects there, and I'll say we talked a lot about well-being. I don't know how much of it went into practice, really. From there, I went to a tech startup, which didn't survive the pandemic, unfortunately, and I had a couple of years at Manchester United before I joined BA, so a real sort of mix of industries and types of roles, all roughly in strategy. At BA in commercial, commercial strategy, what it really means for my job is a focus on what are we trying to deliver for our customers from a commercial perspective. Obviously, we have a massive team. It's just trying to make sure that everybody's pulling in the same direction. We have lots of silos, the same things you'll hear from every big business everywhere. So my job is really to try and keep all of the teams aligned, make sure that we're all pulling towards the same goal. But yeah, really glad to be here today, talk a little bit about well-being and dig in to myself too, as to how actively I've looked after my own self in my career and how I try to be better at that too. So we'll try to bring some of that to life for you.
Thank you guys for sharing that. And actually, I'll start with a question that I have for you. I guess we can all say in this room, we've all been challenged with the task of managing our well-being and achieving a work-life balance, whether you're a seasoned professional or whether you're in early careers. So what I'd ask you guys is, what's been your individual process to achieve a work-life balance?
Well, I can go first because I've got the theory of it. So basically, what we kind of promote at British Airways is around healthy decisions and prioritizing yourself. So what you need to do is you need to understand that kind of well-being, especially well-being at work, is three key things coming together. So if you think of it as a Venn diagram, it's the needs of you as an individual, it's the needs of your team, and it's the needs of us as an organization. So you're kind of in a workplace, and they all need to come together to create that, that sweet spot of where you can thrive in an organization where you feel like your values and everything align to that organization. So what I would say is it is really about advocating for yourself and making some kind of decisions around kind of the values of the organization and the team that you're in. So what we do is we kind of, we've got like our version of an aircraft safety card. So when you get aboard an aircraft and you pull out the seat pocket in front of you, and you'll see there's a safety instructions about how you can get yourself safely off that aircraft if anything goes wrong. So we have a version of that for our colleagues internally at British Airways, which is around 10 kind of hints and tips to take care of yourself, to make sure that you're advocating for yourself and you're looking out for yourself. So we go around and we kind of encourage people to kind of take those healthy choices for those 10 steps. And these are really simple things. So the hints I would give you, and it's what I do to keep myself safe, is first one is around setting boundaries. So start times, finish times, commutes, if you've got commitments outside work, collecting children, picking up children, kind of set your boundaries of what you're comfortable with and have that as an open conversation with your manager and with your team. Kind of set your boundaries and co-create that with your line manager. And then the rest of them are very simple things like get enough sleep. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself, you're getting exercise. Make sure that you're looking after your nutrition. As we know, the body and mind aren't split. What we think drives how we feel. So if we're unwell in ourselves physically, that will drive unwellness kind of in our mental health. So there's no separation. So you need to look at these things holistically. So you need to take care of yourself physically to be able to take care of yourself kind of mentally. So there's loads more tips, and that kind of talks around so setting boundaries, sleep, diet, exercise, setting breaks, and then connection. So we're humans. We have limitations. We have limited amount of energy. And what really helps us recharge that energy? Connecting with people we care about. So friendships at work, friendships outside work, family. Make sure you're taking that time to connect with what's important to you, recharging your inner batteries, and then that gives you the kind of power. And there's a really nice kind of analogy around resilience. So has everyone kind of heard of the term resilience, where we're kind of like, he who endures the longest is the most successful. So if you think of kind of the Duracell bunny ads, where we put the Duracell bunny and we keep it bouncing, and what success looks like is the bunny that's gotten the furthest before it keels over. But actually, true resilience is about recharging. So if you put the Duracell bunny up against a rechargeable battery, when that rechargeable battery runs out, you unplug that, you recharge the batteries, and then you plug it back into that bunny's getting way further than that Duracell bunny. So it's really about prioritizing yourself, knowing your limits, advocating for your limits, and recognizing when you need to take that time out and recharge, and creating a workplace which doesn't expect you to be on top and all things to all people all of the time, because that's setting us all up for failure. So recognizing that we'll ebb and we'll flow, but we need to take care of ourselves, and we need to recognize when we need to unplug and recharge. Is a really long answer to that question.
No, these are really practical tips, so thank you for that.
So I think I'll just build up on what Maurice just said and share it from the perspective of me as a person and also what we do as a department. So for myself, I think one of the tools that you can use is Viva Insights on Outlook and also Headspace on Outlook. Those are very good tools. I think everybody has Outlook these days. But if you don't, probably get an Outlook email address, because it also shows you how many hours you're working and when are you most busy, how much time are you spending away from your desk, and it gives you an idea of how practical you are about your well-being. And also there's Headspace, also on Outlook, that it has tools that you can use to just take a breather or meditate for like 5 minutes, or it gives you like little exercises that you can do during the day. And the other thing that I do is to block out space. Again, using Viva Insights, you can block out some time in your diary or during the week. In fact, as a department, not even as a department, as legal IAG, we are considering blocking out certain hours where people don't contact you so that you can have your own focus time. That way you don't have a stream of emails constantly coming in or Teams chat just going off, and you're trying to also focus on the work, which means you're constantly on demand and you're not even delivering to your best ability. So it just gives you that space to focus, and for people who like being creative, probably sit and think through what you're working on and not just giving an output for the sake of doing it. So that way, even if you're at work, you're also just breathing in and checking in with yourself during the course of the day. And then the other thing that we do as a department is we are very big on diet. So if you come to our department, you'll probably find food. So the reason being, people get depleted, as Maurice just said, the energy goes low very quickly. So we kind of have social events centered around big milestones for people's career, which are very often, or someone's birthday. And we just get to, even if we are at work, we are also having our life at work, where we just even need to take that 1 hour and we just celebrate someone, have a chat, discuss things outside. The reason being, just give people a break to just have that time for an hour, socialize with other people. What Maurice was saying, building those relationships and friendships with each other and checking in with someone else. Because during that 1 hour is the conversation where someone will tell you, I'm going through a divorce, or my cat died, or I'm finding this challenging. And that's where you find those deep conversations happening. The other thing that we do as a department is, while we are also at work, we just try and go outside and have tours within the business. I think it was earlier this spring, we went to our hangar just to see aircrafts, just as a day tour, just to give people some breathing space and connect with one another and just get out of that space where you're just constantly on your computer, or people are just walking over to you and asking what you do. And I think the other thing that we've also tried to do is, while you're working from home, I think you can find yourself just drilling down so much at work. By the time you lift up your head, it's probably 6 p.m. and you probably didn't have lunch, or you didn't take a long enough break. So just trying to give people practical tips of, even if you're working from home, don't feel the need to constantly be on the screen. Take a break, go outside, put laundry, do something. Do something just to take care of yourself. And I think those are the main practical ways that we do it as a department and individually.
Just following on from a few things that have been said, I think, what Maurice said about the Venn diagram of your needs, your team's needs, your organization's needs, I think is something to really think about, because your needs extend beyond your workplace, right? And I think what's really difficult, especially for black young professionals, right, is that we have this feeling which is sometimes true in the workplace and sometimes just perceived, but either way is this feeling that we have to do more to get the same recognition as others, right? And so I think it can be hard to put your own needs first. It can be hard to detach. It can be hard to put in place some of those practical things that we know are important and are sort of essential for ourselves. But the thing I would say to you is you have to give yourself some flex as well, right? You're not going to get this right all the time, and that's okay too. I think what Morris said about your internal battery, that is really important. You have to be able to reflect on it yourself. That's something I've learned personally, is I give a lot of myself to work. I always have. The thing I've gotten better at is understanding where I am, when I need to take a break, and sometimes I can't take a break in the day, right? Sometimes I have to look forward to the things I have on after work. Sometimes I have to get up early and do something that's just for me, but finding those things that, refill your battery is really, really important. And I think that's the biggest reflection I have from particularly early in my career, because your team and your organization is going to dictate a lot of the space you're able to take for yourself. My current team within this organization is great. We have the trust in each other and the flexibility to say, well, we have our team meeting. I'm going to go out and speak to you on the phone, right? And walk around. I've very much taken to walking since I have a dodgy knee. You're too young to have a dodgy knee, I know, but we are where we are. But it's things like that, can you find the things that you really value that you can insert into your day, insert into your week? Because at the end of the day, back to Morris's point, the needs of yourself are not restricted to the 8 hours of your work day or the 40 hours of your work week. So yeah.
No, thank you guys so much for sharing those very important insights. I think a lot of times it's easy to forget and just be so focused on go, go, go. So thank you for sharing your words of wisdom. So now, guys, we're going to open up for a bit of Q&A. So if